Hello everyone, my name is Katya and I moved to Finland, and to be precise to Finnish Lapland. It is the biggest and the northernmost region. I have a road here and sometimes it can be a bit loud, so I hope you can hear me well. But yes, this region is the northernmost region of Finland. But we are living in the south of this region, so we are technically quite far to the north, but not the northernmost part of Finland. But far enough to see reindeers on a daily basis during the summer season. In winter you cannot see them so much. In summer they're everywhere. And this was actually something what really surprised me about life in the north, because I heard that you can see reindeers everywhere, but I thought that it's still like in any other forest. You need to be lucky and to go somewhere to a specific place to meet them. But no, they're actually walking around in our town, on the roads, so you should be very careful when driving the roads in the north of Finland. Today is the 8th of August and we moved in February this year, so I've been living here not so long, but I have still something already to share with you. On this channel I publish vlogs about our daily life here in Finnish Lapland. So we moved in Finland in general in January, but it took us about a month to move to the north of Finland, which was our main destination. Small disclaimer, all what I'm going to say, all my experience is based on my life actually in this part of Finland. I've never lived, only for 1 week we lived in city Vantaa probably, and then we moved first to Kuopio, which is in the middle part of Finland. There we lived for 3-4 weeks, and then after we prepared all the documents, got registered, we was able to rent a house here in the north. Then we could move here. In this video I want to share with you what surprised me, what I didn't expect from life here, or what I found out about this culture or Finnish people. So if you're curious, let's jump in. So the first thing which is important when you move to a new country and you most probably don't speak the local language, the only language you have probably is your native language and English. I was really surprised that Finnish people speak English very well. Oh yes, I also should say a little bit about my background. So I'm originally from Russia and I moved to the Netherlands 4.5 years ago to live with my Dutch husband. We lived in the Netherlands for all that years and calculations, so we lived in the Netherlands for some years, and after a while we decided to move to Finland. Why we moved to Finland I will tell you in a different video, so if you're curious about this too, please write your questions in the comments. So I have my experience of life in Russia, which can be a bit similar in some respects to Finnish environment and Finnish culture, but of course it's far not the same. But it might be a bit closer than, for example, Russian and Dutch culture. When I moved to the Netherlands first, it was a bigger culture shock for me, but also maybe because it was my second big moving. I was already a bit prepared for living in a new environment and in a new, different for me culture. For some reason I didn't expect that I can communicate in English in many places, but even in our remote town Yes, we're living in a quite remote place, so the closest relatively big city is 40 minutes by car, and another like big city is Rovaniemi, is 1 hour 50 minutes driving. So even in this remote place, everywhere in what's wrong with my hair? I should let them. So even in this remote place, lots of people speak English very well. In the shop, in the hospital, in the daycare. It can be better or like less good, but in general, compared, for example, to some. I'm not saying about Russia. In Russia, people like get petrified if they try to speak to a foreigner, if some foreigner approach them and try to speak English. But if, for example, in France they don't want to speak English at all, or for example a very touristic city like Prague. I didn't live there, so I cannot say, but like in touristic places you sometimes people cannot speak English really well. But again, maybe it's just my experience. So we could fill out all our forms for getting registered in the country. That's a very nice thing, I think, because in the beginning I don't say that you can live with English here and don't even try to learn Finnish. I think you should surely learn the language of the country you live in. But it's good that in the beginning you can put aside this topic of the language for a while, because you have so much other stress around you and it's just new environment, you need to get used to it. And it's nice that you don't feel ashamed that you don't speak the language yet, and people are still very nice and friendly to you, even though you say, sorry, I don't speak Finnish yet. As I was already saying that we live remotely here, I think it was quite a big surprise. Wow, it's now so quiet finally. Ooh, I hope it will last. The further we were getting to the north, the less towns and villages are there. And what surprised me that you can drive for not hours, but you can drive like 40 minutes and there won't be any village and like no petrol stations. It's just that the population density gets less and less, and what is surprising that there are still like 1 or 2 houses in between big cities. They can be very remote from any settlements, but people still live there, and I'm very curious how do they feel because even like to go to the shop would take you like half an hour driving, and if you forgot to buy some milk you need to go back. But this brings us to a different thing. What surprises me, even such remote places like ours have all necessary things for life, like we have a hospital with lots of specialists there. We have a school, a daycare. I don't know exactly this how this law or rule sounds, but if people are living somewhere and they registered in the municipality, they have right to have all the necessary help or services. This idea actually teases me because I'm now curious, how would it feel to live in the very north of Finland? So we have all the necessary things, but another, even a higher level of such social benefits, and not benefits, even like social support, is when you actually a special case. Like in our case, our daughter is most probably in the spectrum. We already suspected it in the Netherlands, but it was too early to diagnose, And when we moved here, we got all the necessary, first of all, like medical examination. Even in our remote place, we didn't need to go anywhere, like to a bigger city. All the doctors, which they don't have here, for example, they don't have a pediatrician here, but there is one in Oulu. This is 3 hours driving from here, and he comes here like once in 1 or 2 months. After his appointment, we were granted for Efia a special assistant in the daycare. She needs more attention, and for such children in Finland you can get special help. I also heard about it in one of those videos I watched about Finland, but it was really hard to believe. And yes, it is true, and what is surprising, it cost nothing. Even at the daycare is not free everywhere, but it's significantly cheaper than anywhere, I think, in at least Western Europe. And now she has a person who spends the whole day with her in the daycare, and also she has 2 specialists, a speech therapist and an occupational therapist, which also doesn't cost anything. Yes, we do pay taxes, and that's it. Also, I wanted to tell a bit about Finnish mentality, maybe. That it's also a stereotype that Finnish people don't smile or they're very reserved. It's not very unusual for me, even if it would be like that, because in Russia people also don't smile a lot to strangers. But actually, and again, I'm speaking about the small town, I would expect it to be different in small towns and in the city. The more people live close to each other, the more actually reserved they become, I think, and they don't care so much about other people because there are so many of them, and if you like smile to everyone, it would be maybe exhausting. But what I experienced here in our small town, that people actually are very friendly, they're very helpful, and you don't need to become their friends so that they start being friendly and helpful to you. What was new for me when I moved from Russia to the Netherlands, that people on the streets, when you walk, just some passers-by really smile to you as if you know them in person and you like very good friends with them. They smile and say hi all the time. Like, you walk and to every person you say hi. Oh yeah, almost every. Because in the Netherlands we lived far away from the capital, and maybe it is also different if you walk the streets in Amsterdam. I think people also try to like be very to put on shields and don't try to notice other people because there are too much of them. Here you don't meet lots of people on the streets, and if you do, you most likely say hi to them, and they smile in return, and they also say the Finnish words of hi. And yes, also another thing about making friends. This is quite an important thing when you move to a different city. You will have to build a new community around you. I thought that because I don't speak Finnish, because it's a remote place, I thought people must be even more reserved. It's actually the opposite. The community is very tight. It is very welcoming. Once you move and once you say, hi, I'm living here now, they try to get you involved and try to help you to feel home here. That was actually amazing. Like one of the first weeks in the daycare, there was a woman who came to play some music to children. When she found out that we just moved to the village, she immediately invited us to go and join the husky ride event. Yeah, it was arranged by the local church, but there wasn't any religious about it. But it was so surprising. It was an amazing time we spent there. We visited the local husky farm. They brought some food. There was such a traditional Finnish hut, a small house with a hole on the top and a fireplace, open fire in the middle. You have some shelter. There was some food like sausages which you can fry over an open fire, some cake, coffee, juice, lots of nice things. And we asked her, should we bring something with us, and she said like no, there will be everything. And we had our first ever husky ride. That was an experience that was amazing. I'm active on Instagram. When I started sharing the geotags, I think that I'm living here, someone approached me on Instagram and said, if you want to meet for a coffee, if you have any questions, let me know. And now this person is my dear friend. Hi Annie, if you're watching this video, thank you very much. I'm very, very grateful to have you as my friend. So yes, they say Finnish people are reserved. They might be, but it's not everywhere. And they're actually not. Yes, so to the topic of Finnish people being helpful and the long distances between villages. One of our first drives between Kuopio and our town, Posio, it's called Posio. We needed to bring our stuff here to this house, and it took us 2 rides. One of those times we were driving back already late. It was not even that late, but it was already very dark. It was in February. Yeah, our car started showing some indicating that something was wrong with the brakes or something, and we had to stop to check what's going on. We couldn't figure out what was wrong. It was very snowy, and we were on this actually road between Kuusamo and Kajaani, and it's 200 kilometers, I think. And there is like 1 or 2 small villages in between, very small. And it was relatively late, so everything would be closed. Yeah, we stopped, and there wasn't so many cars, and someone stopped for us just like to check if we are all right. What was funny that it was a guy who was wearing almost a tuxedo, like he was very dressed up. Maybe he was going to some party or was going from the party, but he was very dressed up, and he started like checking out our car. And for him it was quite fast clear what was wrong. It was just the snow from the road got stuck on this space where the wheels are. He took his this special liquid to spray on your windshield so that it's not get frozen, and he did it over under our wheels. He used his the whole canister. This indicator disappeared. Everything was fine, and we couldn't be more grateful that he helped us. And he said like, yeah, just keep in mind that you might need this while driving these winter roads. That was both a huge help and some very useful tip from the local. That was a very nice episode, and we're super grateful to this person, and that was really surprising. I guess it's also a part of this Finnish culture. When you live far away from each other, in some places you maybe help each other more. That is very nice. Yes, and one more thing about the language, that actually, so Finnish people are ready to talk English to you, and they find it fine. But it's also nice how they try to teach you their language a little bit here and there in small different situations. For example, in our local grocery store, the cashier, when it was the end of the week, it was Friday, and after checking out, she said in Finnish, "Have a nice weekend." And she, in a friendly way, insisted that we say it properly, like we had to repeat it like 3-4 times until we said it right. Everything was very friendly, but I found it as actually an amazing thing, because it's the best way to learn the language in situations. The funniest thing that next Friday, we were doing groceries, just coincidentally again on Friday. She said again, Hyvää or hauska viikon loppua, and I forgot how to say it. But after that I looked it up and I learned it. Now I'm saying it everywhere, in the daycare when it's Friday. Yes, and also in the daycare they also teach us some words, because Finnish will be Efi's native language, and it's a very good idea to start learning it as soon as possible. One thing about the houses, when we were searching for a house to rent, so one thing is that there are not so many houses to rent, especially in our remote area. I'm not saying like about Oulu or the capital area. For sure there are lots of places to rent, but there are not so many apartments or houses with more than 2 bedrooms. And in Finland it's counted differently, so it says not amount of bedrooms but amount of rooms in total. And it can be like, it says 1 room, then it means that it's 1 room. It will be your both living room and bedroom. There are, of course, but compared to the Netherlands, for example, which in the first place was surprisingly for me, because in Russia it's more like in Finland. Most people live in 1-2 room apartments. And when I moved to the Netherlands, it was a huge culture shock that one person can live in a house with 4 or 5 rooms. We rented an apartment where was 4 rooms, and there was first 2 of us, and then Efia was born, and it was perfect, 4 rooms for us, like 1 bedroom for us, 1 bedroom for Efia, big living room and an office. We wanted to rent something similar here, and this place which we are renting is the biggest we could find for rent. To buy a house with more amount of rooms is easier, but for rent not so much. So here we have 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, and in total it's a bit smaller than what we are used to. So I think that was it for now. Let me know in the comments if something was surprising to you too. Have you ever heard something about Finland and Finnish culture, and was what I was saying different to what you heard? I will be very happy to read your comments. Please feel free to write something to me. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in the next videos. Goodbye. Bye bye.